Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club podcast, episode 92 today, I believe. And to get us going, the first thing that I'd like to mention is our merch, which we put the message out on the Instagram channel to get some Q&A, and there were a couple of questions about merch. We have been very silent on the merch for the last 2 or 3 months. It's funny for me to think about the timeline on us mentioning merch, because I think probably about a year ago we started mentioning it. Actually, over a year ago, because like the sample that George is wearing right now, that was made like a year ago, I believe, that style. But it's been, you know how it goes, in the pipeline for that long. And I think finally I can say with some confidence that it's coming out very soon, which I hope that's not a letdown. But like,
that's huge.
I'm thinking literally like less than 2 weeks, I'm going to say. And so that's all we'll say about it for now. We have some cool media, like social media rollout type stuff, that's some cool pictures and all that, a giveaway and all that I think we're going to do for it. So stay tuned, coming very soon. So save up your pennies, because you're going to want to buy some of this merch. It's pretty cool. But yeah, and we're very excited as well, because finally it feels like we can put out something to the world. I mean, we did drop the Ollie shirt. That was kind of a bit more of a joke. This is something that we can proudly wear every day.
A lot of people have been messaging me about the Ollie shirt, saying, when you're restocking them.
Yeah, I have seen messages about restocking it.
I've had multiple messages of people just going, hey, like I missed out on the Ollie drop. Are you guys restocking anytime soon? And it made me sad to say, no.
No, that was 24 hours. You had to be there.
Yeah.
I am pretty excited to hopefully like see our stuff around at meets and like just in the running world. That's going to be pretty
what
sweet.
I'm really excited for, because I mean, the Ollie shirt is a hilarious thing to Actually, I have a short story from the Discord, is that someone sent into the Discord, hey, I'm at Eugene, I just saw someone wearing an Ollie shirt, and then some guy sent a selfie of him at the meet wearing the Ollie shirt, and he's like, oh, was it me? He's like, no, it was a different guy. So it is out there, it is circulating, but our new merch will be also very cool to wear around, and it just looks good. I mean, I don't know, I'm talking about it more than I thought I would, now giving away a little bit more, but like I wore it to a coffee shop, and the guy complimented, like the barista was like, yo, nice shirt, dude, that's sick.
Really? Didn't know what it was?
Didn't know what it was at all, but he thought it looked cool. So very excited for that.
That's the best compliment you could possibly receive for a coffee styled shirt, is that the barista gives you a compliment on that.
Exactly.
Honestly, you should take a few down to Boxcar when we get some.
Yeah.
Make them wear it. Make them wear it.
That'd be so good. So
get in the coffee.
Yeah, get in the coffee scene.
We'll just be, it'll be out there in the world very soon, is what I'd like to say. So get excited. And we have a little double bean shout out today. All, if you'd like to.
Yeah, double bean shout out for us. First, I'll start off with this lovely bag of beans that's opened from Singapore. So Jordan Donnelly, we've had him on the podcast. The Lightning team head at On, lovely bloke, lives and breathes running. His wife was at school in Singapore, I believe, and she picked up these beans for us.
Nancy.
I got them in St. Mary's. Nancy, thank you, Nancy. Very excited. These beans smell amazing. So very excited.
So they're from a roaster in Singapore?
Yeah.
Man, yeah. International.
Has a roast date and everything.
They often do.
Who is the roaster? Oh, Nylon Coffee Roasters.
No, like the roast date.
Oh yeah, I know, but
also the roaster. Yeah. And then when I was at St. Moritz at the track, this lovely gentleman came up and asked if I was Ollie, and I said unfortunately I am. And he gave us a bag of beans he's from Geneva. This is from his Geneva place that he loves to go to, and he says, dear Coffee Club boys, I hope you enjoy Switzerland. Here's some beans from a hipster shop in Geneva. It's their 100% Arabica house blend, and it smells great. Sincerely, Alex. Age demographic 30 to 35.
I feel like that's heavily directed at me.
Yeah, I love that he had the age demographic. Really lovely bloke. Thanks, Alex, for coming up and saying hello, and it's always, really nice to get a bag of beans from a fan. So,
what's the name of this one?
This one is Calico, I think. That's an O, right?
I think that's an O.
Is that an O?
Calico in Geneva.
Alma, the Arabica.
Wait, do they have a big meet in Geneva?
Sounds like, but why do I think they do?
Maybe it's like
I think I believe everything you say anyway. So.
No, that was a question. It was a question. I was going to say
maybe.
Yeah, they have the
or
international
Lausanne, because Lausanne is like
Yeah.
Just it's
Similar
on
vibe.
Lake Geneva.
I think
it's like just round the lake.
There probably is a race.
I think I was getting confused with the Geneva Convention.
Hey guys, look, there's a roast date.
I don't know if that's a track meet.
There's a roast date in this one as well. It's
No
in the
way.
back, yeah. It's in the back there.
They provided the
But
roast
thank you
dates.
very
amazing.
much to Nancy and Alex. Really appreciate it. And we're very excited to dig into those beans. So that's the bean shout out.
Shout out to the Geneva Convention as well. And George, you have been... So coaching Kev has been a little bit quiet for 3 or 4 weeks just because it's just kind of something that's happening in the background. But George is his primary coach. And well, he's pretty much his only coach. Ollie and I do not do very much. And
Assistant coaches.
We literally
Coach.
I've skimmed over like the schedule a few
I
times.
give
and
thumbs
I'm
up to his
too
messages.
scared to touch anything because I think George is doing a fantastic job. So if I touch anything, it'll just destroy everything that George has put in.
Yeah.
So I'm just watching from afar.
And we plan on having Kev on the show very soon, but I think it's a great time for George to give an update to all you guys that were wondering. I just want to say George is doing like an amazing job coaching him. I think George is giving him more attention than I've seen any athlete receive ever before. So
Particularly like on our team, I'm like looking, I was like, George, you got another space?
yeah,
The opening space for coach?
Hopefully Kev feels the same way. No, I actually have. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. Not that I didn't think that coaching that wasn't something we should do, or that I didn't think it was going to be fun. But I've definitely had a lot of fun writing workouts and kind of just keeping up with Kev on Strava because his Strava captions are pretty funny. Go follow him. He's actually getting some fans apparently at the last race. He had a few coffee club fans
because he races in our visor, I believe, part of the merch drop.
So stick that in there.
No, it's been really fun, and he debuted for the coffee club track club a couple of weeks ago with a 4:29 track mile. For reference, the ultimate goal of the summer is sub 4:20. That's the coaching, that's the dream. But it was his first sub 4:30 mile in 7 years. Apparently.
That's huge. Yeah.
So we made good progress already, and then followed up with a couple of road miles at the Dairyland Mile Series in Milwaukee, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it was Milwaukee.
It actually seemed pretty sweet. It was like 2 consecutive road miles on like Friday and Saturday nights on different bits of road, I'm guessing.
Different
I actually
stretches of
don't
road.
know.
Yeah, I
And
think
there was
so.
like extra bonuses for like if you won both of them or something.
Sounds like the Tour de France, like different stages.
Exactly, like
It was
Tour
like
de
a
France.
it was like a 2-stage
two
mile race.
stage mile Tour de France in Milwaukee.
And he dropped a 4:39 and a 4:26 the next day.
Yeah.
For, I think both top 10 placings.
Mm-hmm. These races were all very competitive as well.
Yeah.
Like he's got some legit competition in these races, and he's chopping it up with them, so he's doing very well.
Yeah, he really does. And then we've got a beer mile going this weekend.
I'm excited for this one.
Which not sure how my coaching strategy has played into.
Have you picked the beer for
It's a tough one to coach. It's tough to coach someone's beer drinking.
What's the biggest factor here for you as a coach? Like, is it like picking the right alcoholic beverage and testing that water?
Do you
or
get
just
to
the
choose?
training?
I think you do.
You do.
Yeah.
It has to be
I
a
think
certain.
It has to be over
percentage.
like 4% or something, doesn't it?
I think there's a
Yeah.
rule, but yeah,
I
think
have
you do
very
get
little
to choose.
experience in beer miles.
Yeah,
But I think you got to get like
the
the
technique.
whirlpool sculling down.
Spin.
yeah.
That's the Kiv update though. He's like the ultimate athlete though. He hasn't missed a day of training since we started.
He's been crushing.
Makes it very easy to coach.
Very coachable.
Very
Great coachability. So credit to him and credit to you as well. You guys are a great match. So it's gone very well. And as I said, hopefully Kev will be on very soon to tell from his own mouth how it's all going. But yeah, for now, everything's looking really good. And shout out to Kev for just racing so well, training so well, and hopefully he crushes the beer mile, which is it this weekend?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's just representing the coffee club so well out there.
He's raced the most. He's putting in the most races so far. But moving on to the main topics for today, our main one is very interesting because it's something that just a few days ago, I don't think I didn't even know this was a possibility that would be previewing the Stockholm Diamond League in this way that we are. So this week is a double header for the Diamond League, Lausanne, Stockholm, back to back pretty much, and they're two awesome places, two great meets, and they're two big ones. And George rocks up. Well, I'll just let you tell this story, George, because I didn't even know that you were like, you just got back from Europe like a week ago, I feel like, and then you found out that you got into the Stockholm Diamond League. So yeah, how did that all play out?
Into the big leagues. Yeah. Yeah, I felt like there was... So I came back from Nice maybe 10 days ago, and knowing that I'd run a kind of decent steeple, like in under 820, which is, it's not... it's competitive up there, and now I'm ranked in the 20s in the world, so I thought there was like a slim chance that a Diamond League steeple was a possibility for the season, but that it wasn't a kind of sure enough thing to stay in Europe. And so got Haas on the job, my agent, and knowing that there's only 3 Diamond League steeples left in the season, and they're all quite soon. It goes Stockholm, Monaco, Poland, and then that's it for the year until the final. So even if you run well at Worlds and like you want to try and get into the final, like there aren't any Diamond Leagues in between.
That's such a big gap.
Worlds and the final, so it's kind of now or never. And yeah, so Haas was just like, yeah, I've reached out to Stockholm again, and it's like, you want to go back, or like you want to come to Leuven for a bit, or I was like, I think I'll just like head back to the US and kind of hope to get in, and then just try and, I don't know, try and get an upgrade or something, and make the travel as easy as possible. But like the field was full apparently, so I was just on the wait list, and then you've probably all heard us complain about how the intricacies of getting into a Diamond League make it, unless you're Ollie or Mario Yard at this point, or a couple of the others where you can kind of pick and choose. For the rest of us chumps that aren't on that level, it can be a little bit stressful. But yeah, got the text on Saturday maybe or Sunday that I have got to start in Stockholm steeple this weekend, Sunday. So had to plan some travel pretty quickly, and yeah, no, I'm actually pretty freaking excited. Stockholm and Oslo, I think, kind of been on like top of my list of Diamond Leagues that I've wanted to go to. Just watching these guys in Oslo, like, looks so epic up there, and heard similar things about Stockholm. And yeah, I mean, I have to be pretty grateful in my position that like I've gone from the Mount Balsac relays 2.5 months ago with running 840 something to, and kind of with the aim like I'm gonna have a real shot at this, and like hopefully I can run some actual good meets. And within, my fifth steeple is going to be Diamond League steeple, so no matter what the result is, I feel like I should be pretty grateful for that. And yeah, such a good opportunity that like I couldn't say no, even Definitely. Though it was a pretty quick turnaround, and feeling more positive about the steeple again. Gone through definitely like some highs and lows of thinking like, fuck this again. Why am I doing this? To like, then some hurdles start feeling good, and the one in Nice, my body came off a lot better. That was like one of the things that I was just kind of bummed out about in LA. It was just like my ankles were just so messed up after just not having very good water jumps, I think was part of it, and just my body felt like shit after it. And then so I'm like, like it's hard to look forward to an event where you're going to just feel so bad after it.
Yeah.
But then after going to Nice and just, I think, having a few less expectations going into the race and being a bit more relaxed about it, and then I've actually come off it really well. So I'm back to being like more positive about the steeple again. And yeah, it's going to throw down with the big boys.
Yeah. Well, so
Albacali for one.
Albacali.
I hope he's not going for the world record, but I just assume he is. Like,
why not? Or at least sub 8.
Yeah. I mean, that yeah, that's probably a given.
I think with him in the race, it's a guaranteed sub 8.
Yeah. I think he broke 8 like 4 times last year. But I think he's going to be like pissed that he didn't get the world record and then Germa got it. So you'd think he might go for it.
Yeah,
so if you watch the Diamond League, you probably won't see me. But I'll be back there.
Hey, sometimes they do a pretty good job of going back and forth.
There wasn't a lot in Paris. I think it was just a Germa cam.
This is true.
Laps.
This is true. But
there was like a good race for like another set of lights, and then like a big pack at like they went like 8:09 to 8:16 was like 8 people or something. So
yeah, well, that's kind of what my question is, looking at the field for this race, because last week in your recap of your France trip, you kind of expressed how you were still just a bit frustrated that you hadn't taken the next step yet, which, I mean, we all know from your training that like you're ready to do it. Does this race look like that type of race? And I do want to say, just looking at how the steeples have been this year, I think we already mentioned this last week. There are the standouts, the world record with Germa and then El Bakali, but the field is not very. I mean, you ran 8:17 at Nice. The field for these races has not been very far, like in front of that time. Do you think that this is looking like that race where you really feel like if you're just in it, you'll get carried along to, you know, maybe a 5-second PB or something like that?
That is kind of how I don't know if that's always how the steeple is. I don't know if I paid as much attention kind of previously to this year, but it seems like, you know, there are some people that can run, you know, a couple in the 750s, El Bakali and Germa, and then a few in the 80s, but honestly not like less than 10 people I think have run in the like under 8:10 this year. So there is like the next chunk, and even in all these Diamond Leagues is kind of 8:10 to even like low 8:20s has been getting in. So, but then, you know, the only races that the standard has been run, I think I mentioned last week, is in like the 3 Diamond League steeples so far. Or is there only, maybe there's only been 2, and those are the only 2 races, and people are running 8:10 back there. So I think if it's going to happen, it's probably in a Diamond League race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Ollie can attest for that. Like people show up and you show up when on the big stage, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes it takes that, like, you know, a lot of energy from big crowd and best runners in the world, and kind of put all that together.
I think it's just also just the meets in your, like, particular Diamond Leagues that are on. Pre does a great job in the US, but other than that, there's no other US like Diamond Leagues. But in Europe, those big races, big Diamond League races, the crowd turns up, the athletes always turn up. It's like, you know, it's the biggest races, apologies, to the season compared to like everything else. So when you have that heightened sense of like everything around you, you're gonna it's gonna carry you along with it. So.
And just the level, like we've said, has been so high. Every Diamond League, I don't see why it would be
100%, and take advantage of it too.
Yeah.
It's like there's not even a question. It's like these other races that you've done. It's like you probably going into all these races have had the thought, okay, like is someone going to be running 8:15 today? Like you're not sure if it's going to be that race. Whereas you go into a Diamond League, it's not even like you don't even have to think that. You're like, all right, this whole pack of guys is trying to run under 8:15, and they're just going to go for it.
Makes racing actually, I think, more exciting. Personally, because I know you like the slow tactical races, but I think now with the racing, like for example in the steeple, like you know they're going to run probably 8-minute pace or quicker with a close. Like you know that's the way the race is going to be, so it's all about just competing when it matters. Like you're just going to go along with the race, and then when it gets to the fine end, you can just go and compete and not worry about time or anything like that, because I think that's a big factor with a lot of the other smaller races. Like everyone's worrying about running the standard or running a certain time to get into these other meets, but you're got into the meet that like matters, right? So you can just kind of enjoy the race, let it unfold, and that's one of the privileges of being in a Diamond League.
It makes it easier for the athlete, I think.
100%. Like, there's definitely been like a corner of my mind in the last couple of races, like, are we running 8:15? Like, can't really tell. Like, do I need to go do something? Like, does someone need to go do something?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's definitely one where I'm like, they're going to be running a lot faster than that, so there's no point even thinking about it. Like, just switch off and get amongst the racing.
I mean,
I think it's going to be a really good like test for. I was thinking if I didn't get into a Diamond League steeple, like whether or not I was going to run one before Worlds. Like I just wanted to be in a really high level one before getting into like the first round of Worlds.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I've
want to
only
feel
been in
that.
races that have gone 8:17 is the fastest one. Like, I feel like I need to be in a race with Wale and Albacali and like see what it's like to actually be on the line with those guys and before the first round of Worlds.
Yep.
So I think it's gonna be a good one.
That's a really good point, because I've been thinking about this a little bit recently about how, like, what we do, our biggest goal of the year is always Worlds or Olympics, but you do get in, I don't know, it is hard to prepare for those races in some ways because of the high level of competition and how tactical those races are, because like what you just said, where you're going to be racing against that level, like you're going to really feel it. I was thinking about this for like the hard thing for the 1500, because I was watching Cinta just competed at the, I don't even know what it's called, Europe Cup.
European Team
Champs.
Something.
Shout out to Italy for getting the dub. And Cinta, I mean, she raced well. She came fourth and did solid, but it was a super tactical race. And I'm just thinking, like, it's so weird as a pro, like trying to like you just don't get that many races where you're really able to replicate Worlds that well. And for her, that was a tactical 1500. And like honestly, Ollie, like you haven't really raced like any super tactical 1500s or miles for so long. And like for you, George, that's racing against this high competition. It's just like a weird thing that there's not as much. I mean, this is a thing that we've talked about like a billion times on the podcast, like the idea of time trialing, racing for time versus competing. But if you're specifically thinking about our goals of success at Worlds, it is really good to consider those type of things. Like, I want to line up against the best so I can feel it. And that is what you do every single time you race, Ollie.
I think the interesting aspect of our sport is that, like, if you look at, particularly with middle distance and distance, when I talk about our sport, is that, like, for sprints, it is nice to have the competition, but you're kind of just in your own lane, really. You're not feeling the environment as much, I believe, as you would when you're racing the steeple or the 1500 or the 5K, 10K. Like, you're bunched up with those guys. They make moves. It affects the way you're running, where you're running, if you're running on the outside or the inside, if you're getting knocked, if you're getting clipped. Like, that sort of exposure, I think, before Worlds is so good to, like, give you some sort of normalcy with it. Because I think when you get to those situations in the heat, semis, finals, whatever, you're going to experience a part of that from racing. And if you don't get it with the best guys around, it's going to be foreign and it might set you off a little bit. It doesn't feel like it should. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of athletes, particularly 1500 meter runners, really want to do is run with Jakob, run with Tim Chariot, run with Josh Kerr, Jared Negus, Mario,
Oliver
Hoare. all those guys, because like you get the feeling of like how they run, their style of running, even if it doesn't seem like when you're watching it, like you do have a good sense of everyone around you in racing. And I think steeple in particular is like even more heightened because you're going over barriers, you're seeing how people jump, you're giving an idea of like how it feels to be running behind them when that happens. I think that's way more crucial, particularly in steeple. So it's a huge benefit, I think.
What do you think of our kind of absence as Oceania runners of like having a tactical race in June and July? Because obviously USA's is next week. Mario and Cinta have got their Spanish and Italian champs in like a month or so. Like everyone else is getting a little bit of tactical practice in a month to 6 weeks before. Like if we want to get that in, we got to go do it in March.
I have
six
an
months
opinion
before.
on that. I have an opinion on that.
Do you think we need to go like find a tactical race?
No.
What do you reckon?
Yes.
I have an opinion on that, and I don't know if it's going to be liked. I think having the Australian Championships in particular in March and April is so stupid, personally, because...
But it has to be then. Like, it couldn't be any other
It couldn't
time.
be, but...
Why couldn't it be June and July as well?
Your guys' cross-country season.
But are you going to go back to Australia in June or July? Like, you wouldn't want to do that either.
For tactical knowledge and experience, I think I would, because I think it's important to be able to go back and race a champion-style type of race before Worlds. But the issue with it being in March is you kind of lose that kind of feel and edge. Like when I went back and ran in March for the Eugene qualification last year, it was really good race for me tactically.
Yeah, you got a lot out of that.
I got a lot out of it, and I think I really valued it. But the time of year just kind of sucked because it didn't really benefit me moving into the championship racing because at that point already months had passed and I kind of maybe lost a little bit of that kind of experience and knowledge. Whereas in June, July, if you're doing it then, you're kind of building off it. There is the negative of like traveling home, like 24-hour trip, and you're like right in the middle of the season. You're in hard training. You got all these big races in Europe, so there is that give and take. But I feel like maybe it just sucks. It just sucks.
What's the trade-off?
See, I think the benefits do outweigh the negatives. That
not having to peak,
having to do. Yeah, I think the fact that you can secure qualification in March or April, whenever Nationals is, and then you can just prepare the whole year for the Worlds is actually overall an advantage. But I do agree with your point that it is a negative that we don't have that tactical racing, because the reality is, just looking at our teammates, Mario with the Spanish 1500 is a great example. He knows that if he's made that Spanish team, as long as nothing goes wrong in terms of injury, he knows that he's good enough to make the final at Worlds. Same with the USA team in a lot of the events. Like, if you make the USA team, how good you are. And yeah, that's really tough and really stressful to have to, like, even for Joe, Alicia, like, USAs, you can never take that for granted. So I would overall say to avoid that is actually a nice thing for us if you things go well, but it does probably make you stronger to go through it.
How about this? USATF, let us race.
Make it an open.
Make it open. Let us race.
USA would
Australian
implode.
Champs open, right? And New Zealand.
USA, even some of the European countries is open.
Right?
Yeah, it is. But USA, that would
Imagine
just make
how many
no
people
sense.
would enter in US.
That would make no sense.
I would love it.
What if there was the USA 1500 and just there's like 2 USA athletes in the final? That'd be hilarious.
Well, maybe that's why they don't want to do it, because they're too scared that a lot of Americans wouldn't make it.
That would be like the most un-American thing ever.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very
that.
American to let foreigners in and then just beat them at their own game.
They would hate that.
They would hate it. But also, like, the Americans are fucking amazing at every event. Yeah,
they don't need internationals.
The field
internationals.
is good enough.
Yeah, they're fucking so good at every event. Like, every event, when they're mostly sending 3 people, and it's like very, very like tough competition to make that top 3. So
Totally.
it's pretty epic. That's why watching it is so like awesome.
So
I love
exciting.
watching those days.
Well,
Yeah.
I honestly think for you at this point, like, you're so fit and on such a high level that if you are running one more race this season, I don't know if that's announced or not, but if you go run one more Diamond League and it's not like a 327 race, if it's like a 332 race, that's literally like a tactical race for you.
Yeah,
that's just how good you are.
Yeah.
So then it's like, that is it. That is some good tactical practice.
So I have 2 factors in that, George. Number 1, I go run a tactical 332, 333, 331 race, whatever, and like really just like absorb that knowledge, whether it's a good or bad race, or I get the pacing into it. 329.3, break the Australian record again by 100.
What do you think would help better for
That's
Worlds?
the thing. The only thing that you haven't done is that, like, recently.
Would you rather do that,
tactical.
or would you rather run 329.3 in the world final?
Oh, 100% the world final. The one thing I feel like, and maybe this is a bit of a far-fetched statement, but I think, because we're talking about the 1500 right now, I think if you're running 329, you can consistently run 329, you're going to be in a good spot in the final. If you
That's
can get
not a lie.
That's not a lie, right?
That's not a far-fetched statement.
That's not a but it might be far-fetched because there's so many people running so fast that you're like,
You're saying that there aren't many 329 guys that won't make the final. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
there could be someone this year though.
There probably will be. I mean,
that's how good people are running.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's going to be tactical racing. But like in the steeple, for example, like with that chunk of athletes, do you think going through the rounds and stuff, is it going to just be way more tactical? Are you going to experience a very tactical race in the heats, or do you reckon it's just going to be like they're just going to try and run like 8 under 810?
That's a good question in the steeple. I think people don't love running super slow in the steeple because it actually
makes you feel worse,
makes
right?
it feel worse.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I like about the steeple. It's never that slow.
No.
It's normally never that slow.
Because even if you're running like 68s, you're on 8:30 pace, and then you close.
With the big close and run 8:20, like at the slowest probably. Yeah. I think either way that would feel tactical.
Yeah.
And just people wouldn't, like, I don't think people are going to go out and run any over 70s.
So
it feels terrible hurdling.
This could be a double bubble for you in Stockholm, because I feel like it could be a tactical race, but it could be under 810. You know what I mean? You could get a bit of tactical
I
exposure.
don't think it's going to be like tactical in the way that you mean tactical, though.
I mean, as in like competing with like...
It's going to be, I reckon
Maybe
it's gonna be
tactical
all
in the
out.
terms of like the steeplechase is the least single file
Yeah.
race that you get. Like,
And you're moving around a lot.
even in a time trial or steeplechase, like it's not.
Still
You're not
bodies.
just
Yeah.
in a single file line like in a 15.
That's what I mean. I think like
Because that's just the only way you can do it. Really.
placing in the Diamond League and Diamond League points, like it's pretty important whether you're first or eighth. So like I'm thinking like in the top 8, it's gonna be a really tactical race in the sense of like.
Yeah, I think the way to
positioning.
run it is to treat it like trying to make the final at Worlds, like try and get top 5 kind of thing.
Honestly, that's pretty good. I like that. I
Yeah.
like it.
Attack those steeples, baby.
Attack them.
Attack the
Clear the
steeples.
water jump.
Yeah, just don't even touch the steeple. Just go straight over.
Caputo was doing that in front of me in Nice.
crazy.
I was like,
That was my question. Okay,
it
so
was terrifying to watch. I was like, dude, what is he?
when you're doing, so this is like, I don't want to spend too long on this, but when you're doing a steeple and there's all these people steepling around you, do you start to get a really good sense as to how everyone around you steeples, and you have to kind of adjust for it? Like you can tell really well like who's a good steepler and who's not, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can get a feel for it.
I feel like some people really attack them and some people just like jump over them. I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
For the most part, when I've been kind of at the front of the last 2 races, like most of those people are. I mean, watching Caputo hurdle was definitely
He
a change.
attacks them. He attacks them.
Yeah.
No fear.
At that level, everyone's pretty good at hurdling, or they've like Caputo and they've figured out how to make bad hurdling go fast.
Yeah, it's a skill. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, very excited to see you get in that Diamond League. So cool that, yeah, this is your first season doing it and you're already at this level. So we're very excited to see you and hopefully get that big PB. New Zealand record still on the mind. I mean, if you're going for the world standard under 8:15, you're right there. So it's going to be so cool. And the other Diamond League, which is 2 days. So that's on Sunday, Stockholm.
Sunday night,
Is Lausanne Saturday or Friday?
Friday night.
Friday. So we have teammate Jonas, our Swiss teammate, racing in the 5K there, which Lausanne has a bunch of really good meets as well. I don't think we're going to try preview it too hard because we don't really know that much, but there's a lot of heavy hitters across the 5K and the 15 on the men's side, which is the races that we've seen. And Jonas, he raced really well with George in Paris, and I think with a few more weeks of training under his belt, he's going to be ready to go. I'm sure he's trying to crack 13:10, probably even quicker than that, to be honest, get the standard and all that. So he's looking good. And the other big name which jumped out to us was Kai Robinson. So Kai, I'm sure everyone knows him, double NCAA champ outdoors, Australian. He's been crushing it for quite a while now. What do we think he's going to do?
Red Robin Robinson.
Robin Robinson.
Mate, I think...
Red Robinson.
Red Robinson.
That's nice.
I think... I mean, I don't think it was slept on, but the 5-10K double... pretty fucking impressive at NCAA's. Like, not many people have done that, and he looked like he did it pretty comfortably too in the heat. So going to Lausanne, like, I think he can compete with the best. I mean, he's been at Comms, he's been at Worlds.
He looked really good at Worlds last year.
Worlds,
as
he like made a move with
he looked really good.
Cheptegei. I think
Yeah,
he made
he's
on
looked-
the outside.
He's looked really good when it's hot.
Yeah, he does well in the heat.
He's even better in the heat than he is in the cold.
That's why he's known as Red Robin. He's red hot.
Yeah.
In general, I think he can run 13 teens to maybe if he's on fire.
Bro,
under
he's run
13-10.
13 teams before.
Under 13-10. Yeah, but I'm thinking more.
He's run 13:11 in December.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, in Boston, admittedly, so at 5 or 10 seconds.
The reason
But
why
he looked like he was jogging, and that was 7 months ago.
the reason why I say teens though is because NCAA is a long season. It's a long year for him, so I could see him being maybe a bit tired, travel and everything like that. But that doesn't say that I don't think he can go out and run under 13:10.
I was thinking about that, but then if you look at how his season, he kind of went quiet for a bit after World Cross, which
Yeah.
like during
Indoors,
indoors,
he
he was
didn't.
quiet. He's still amazing, but he wasn't as amazing as you maybe thought he would be. And I'm not sure if that was planned or just kind of the way things played out because of all the travel and racing. But I think that might come and be in his
good point.
favor.
I think if he's recovered well from the 5-10 double, I think 30 nose is very realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could go under 13:05, I would imagine. Just because I think he's just that good, yeah. Plain and simple. I think he is. And I think that's what like Dylan Jacobs would be running. Like if Dylan Jacobs was lining up in a Diamond League and he was fit and ready to go, I'd say, yeah, he's going to run under 13:05 as well. So
You can't break the collegiate record anymore, right? After NCAAs. What can you do? Collegiate best or something?
dude, that's such a contentious topic. Is he? Because he's not even a senior.
No, I think,
So he's not
he's going
graduated.
back.
He's not graduated. So I think you would. I
think
think
you get,
definitely in some record books. In some record books, you would.
What is the record?
Well,
Abdi has one of them.
in regular season, it's Abdi
1304.
06.
06.
But then I'm sure there's a
I think someone did,
like a
yeah.
postseason one because that's same in the
Maybe in
1500.
Lawi Lang, maybe even around like 1301 after he's. I don't know.
I think you're right.
I think
because
he's
1301. That's
I
crazy.
think Mario last year technically got like the
True.
out of season 1500 record.
With
Running
330.
around 330.
Oh yeah, well
because it
even
was
Weeding,
still like a collegiate
even
season.
Weeding ran 330 his last year
Monaco.
before he signed.
Yeah.
Before he went pro.
And that's like the out of season record.
At Wisconsin, it was funny because they had previously. That's how the records had been. Like you were allowed to set them after your senior year. So like if it was just in that track season, like it still counted. But then when we came along, Ollie and I both ran quicker than some records. Like if you didn't count it like that, so Mick tried to change it so then we could get the records. Which is a bit questionable. It's a bit
questionable.
It's a
Yeah.
bit questionable.
Yeah. Well, they said,
Sorry, Tim Hacker.
They said I got a 1500 meter record, and I was like, I thought it was 334.
Yeah, I think Tim Hackers was like 335 on like the record books,
And then I ran like 337 or 336, and
Nick was
Nick was
like,
like, "We're
"Broke it."
changing it." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if I should do that."
Don't know about that
I don't
one.
know about that.
But yeah, so that's anything else from Lausanne? This is just good races. Is
1500 is red hot. I think Jingy is doing it. I didn't
Jingy.
see. Is Fingy on the list?
Probably.
What about Gingy's prodigy?
I don't think so. I don't think he was
What's
on
his
it.
name again? Sandreas?
Nordis?
Sandreas? That's what I tried to call him last week, I think.
I love his name's Nordis because he's Nordic.
Yeah, it just
You
makes sense,
Just
doesn't
makes
it?
sense. But Gingy, I don't know if Gingy's athletes there. Jingy is reported doing
What
it.
about Hingy?
Hingy is, I don't think he's touching the 15. I think he's staying on the 5K. And then Fingy, I don't know what Fingy's doing, but
Okay, good to know.
it could be red hot. I mean, if Jacob's in it, you know it's going to be a red hot race.
We said this last week as well. So impressed just at how much he's racing.
He doesn't duck, bro.
Yeah,
Only
just
one
like,
No
Jingy.
ducking.
Just the one Engie.
This Jingy?
Jake Whiteman is entered.
Whiteman?
Whiteman.
Whitecastle's there?
he's back.
Dude,
He
it looks
is.
like a British champs. There's 4 of them in there.
Yeah, Neil,
Elliot Giles.
Haywood,
Jake
Wait.
Haywood.
Giles, and Whiteman. Yeah. Wait, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 British dudes.
There's too many British people.
All right.
We gotta
Always
change
see
that.
Europe showing up in force too.
Oh, yeah.
Farkin,
Robert
Fucking. It's an
Elmer, and
Mills.
McCann. Not Mills.
Oh, McCann. So you have the 3. So the 3 OEC Europe boys attacking Lausanne. You have the 3 OEC boys attacking Oslo. OEC out in force in the Diamond Leagues in the 1500. Good to see. Excited for them. I think it'll be a great race. I mean, last year it was a ripper race. I'm still running that race mentally and physically. I sucked.
that was a tough one.
That was a tough one for Ollie. I walked off that one. I was dead last in like 337. I was like, oh shit, my season's over. And then I went to Zurich and ran 330 and got third. So it's fine. But it's a cool track.
Be a goldfish.
Be a goldfish. Ted Lasso. Be a goldfish. But I think this is a great, like, I mean, we mentioned it so many times in the podcast. Every Diamond Leagues has been like up to standard, you know, like crazy. It's going to be pretty exciting to watch Stockholm and Lausanne like back to back. It's going to be like a movie marathon. Just enjoying it, you know.
Mhm.
George go out crushing it. But yeah,
So
be a good one.
lots of good track this week coming up. And yeah, I'm very excited to watch it all. So it'll be sick. And then the next week, is USA's next week. Yeah,
Mhm.
we already said that. So next week
Where is it
USA's.
again?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah,
Who's hosting it?
there's been a lot of flaming on the internet recently on the Twitter sphere about people talking about Eugene hotel prices, flight prices. The
Do you
things
reckon it's Jerry's?
the things that
Jerry's
we talk
doing
about
it?
all the time. Huh?
Jerry's inflating the hotel prices.
I think
He
he
doesn't
is a
want
cut.
he doesn't want anybody on the track.
You think he owns the hotels?
Yeah.
He probably owns them.
He's probably going around like bribing all the hotels and all the vendors around to like jack up the prices so nobody touches the track because he doesn't want anyone on the track, you know.
Yeah.
He's not. Was he available for comment about the Eugene trials?
I wonder
wasn't.
how much a night at the Graduate is. A
The
week
Graduate.
that there's not a track.
It's
Probably
like $5.
$5.
It's like yeah, like it's pretty much like a ski resort or something like that where like they don't even care about any other week. Like it's like they have like these couple of weeks a year. It's like we make all our money here and then we're just chilling the rest of the time.
The hotel actually closes.
The funniest, I have to give him credit, Ben Crawford. You know, he's put out a few tweets there that have been pretty funny, but the funniest one was saying that he swears that there's no collusion from hotels jacking up hotel prices.
I mean, see, I don't buy that though. Like it's not like I guess how do you define? Like it's just they are more expensive.
Yeah.
you can say they're not colluding, but I mean they are.
But they know that there's going to be a shit ton of people and they need somewhere to stay. So it's like, yeah, well, if you,
Supply and
there's
demand.
this
Yeah,
supply
so
and
like
demand.
even if it's not
Economics
like
101.
even if it's not like conscious, it still is happening, you know. And so it just is an unfortunate reality of hosting these big races in a small town. But I don't even know.
Should we preview this week or next week?
Next week.
Next week.
Well, Ollie really wants to talk about the 1500, so
We could do a double preview.
let's okay.
Double bubble.
So let's run like today or yesterday had a poll. I don't go on Let's Run very often, but sometimes I go on there just to make sure like we're not missing anything like big for the podcast, because like we don't always pay the best attention to what's happening in the sport. And they had a poll. We have a running podcast, but we don't know what's going on most of the time.
Yeah.
They had a poll. Who do you think is most likely to not make the US men's 1500 meter team? And it
Who
was
is the most likely to not make it?
and it was
Out of
the big four. Big four now
I can
is
imagine who that is.
The Mount Rushmore of 1500 meter running at the moment.
Cole, Cooper, Yared, and Hobbs Kessler.
What is like the average age?
I was just
of
thinking that.
that
I think
group
it's
of
like
They're so
like
young.
15 or 16, I think.
So you got Holcocker, Cooper
Half those people
Teardrop,
can't drink.
Yeah.
the
it's crazy.
Goose, and then Hobbs Tesla.
Hobbs
So,
Kessler.
Wow, that's so good.
so
Hobbs
in,
Tesla.
in general,
The best thing about it is like it doesn't suit him at all.
no, it's the complete opposite of him in every way, but it's awesome. I mean,
I think Hobbs should just go back to rock climbing.
he's so good at rock climbing.
Yeah.
I do
He's
love his
amazing.
videos.
He's amazing. No, okay, that was I didn't mean that in a mean way. I just meant that in like a
He's
rock
so
climbing is
cool,
so
eh?
cool.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the list though. Who they say? Who was the most majority?
Well, it was a poll, so you got to vote.
Oh, but who?
But did it say what people would
Yeah.
vote once you did?
Yeah,
Who'd
dude.
you vote for? Admit it. Tell us.
You voted for someone, didn't you?
I mean, yeah, I did.
Who'd you vote for?
I vote for Hobbs Kessler.
Damn.
But like I mean, so
It's alright. He has auto drive.
I mean the thing is, I voted for him, but if he made it, I wouldn't. It's not like I'm gonna be like, oh wow, I'm surprised. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's definitely good enough to, and I guess that's why it's a good question, is because it's so hard to separate them. But Yared was by far. I mean, I think we'll just agree on this one. Yared is by far our pick for the win, like our lock. So none of us are saying he's not gonna make it.
Did people say? The people would have
No,
said
it was like 3%. It was like nothing.
The other two are the last two US champs.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I think most people would say, like the thing that's interesting with Cole is the question mark over his health, but he's looked good for a few weeks now. I mean, he ran.
And that's all it takes.
That's all it takes. So
I mean, literally, yeah. If he's running consistently, he's getting 6th at the Olympics and running 3:31. So
yeah, so he's done it before, and
Yeah.
he's an amazing racer. It's funny to like you almost forget how good his close was, like how he was racing these races, just because all these other amazing 1500s have happened in the short time frame that he's been a bit out of it. Like it's not even that long. He hasn't even been injured for that long.
no.
But it's like all these crazy 1500s have happened. So, but my money is still on him to find a way onto the team. So then in my head, it was between Cooper and Hobbs. And I think they're both amazing athletes. I think Cooper is like really fucking good. And I think he's got a really good kick as well. And I think it'll honestly mostly depend on how the race plays out, just on the day with tactics and all that. And I mean, I've seen Cooper race well a lot, so I do believe in him. And so that's kind of why I ended up with Hobbs. But is the 1500 first? Is it before the 5K?
Mm-hmm.
So Cooper's, because I haven't seen the
I
entry
think he is
listing.
into them both.
He is?
I think that 15 is Thursday, Saturday, and then the final of the 5K, the straight final of 5K on Sunday.
Because he could make the 5K as well. Like that wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he even has the qualifier.
He
I'm not
doesn't,
sure.
but I'm sure if he like got top 3 and it was fast, I'm sure he'd have the ranking.
Yeah, and he would
You'd
just
think.
have to go and do a race, and he would run the time.
Phil Knight will make some calls.
You also can, for the first time in ages for the US, you can qualify.
You
for
can
the rest
chase
of-
chase the standard.
Joe did not
for the rest
like
of
that
July.
this morning
I know.
when you corrected it.
I told him a few days ago.
Oh,
He was like, nah,
He's
bro.
like, there's like no chance.
Because it hasn't been for a long time.
See,
I remember like
2019.
since like Robbie maybe, because Robbie went and chased the standard and got it.
It was
After USA.
2019 when they changed it,
Really?
and it was like kind of a big controversy. But they changed it because of the ranking stuff, and no one understood
Yeah.
what that meant.
It's true.
Because USA they really want to be able to, like, after the race, hand 3 people flags and say you're on the team. Like that's what they really want. But the ranking makes that confusing. So yeah,
Who was voted most likely to not make it?
it was.
Was it close or was it just one clear?
So the other three were close apart from Yared, but it was closest between Hobbs and Cooper, I think.
People got a lot of faith in Cole still.
I mean, it's hard not to when you watch him race.
It's
Yeah.
true, but even, I mean, it's going to be so good. But Hobbs has run 145 in the last.
Hobbs
Sweet.
Hobbs looks the most dangerous in my opinion. Like Cooper and Cole, you can never take it away from them how good they are. But there's one thing that Hobbs has that those two don't. Hobbs hasn't made a US team yet. It's about, honestly, those type of races, how much you want it. And how much you like. I know this is getting into a bit of a like, go out there and do it, like kind of like Ritz. But in general, put the fear of God in them. I think for Hobbs, he's going to have so much momentum from the way he's been racing, and also just like he's probably thinking mentally like, I can fucking do this.
He does have the win over Cooper.
He also does have Cooper's
Scalp.
Yes, Cooper's scalp.
Yes, Cooper's number.
That was good.
I think Hobbs is in a really good place, like mentally and physically, just be like, I haven't made a US team, I really want to make a US team, like I'm gonna go fucking do it, I'm in great shape, like, you know, G up. Whereas like I can see nothing against Cooper and Cole, but I can see them being a bit more like shit, like Hobbs is really good, like a bit more worried than more confident. Whereas like I think Hobbs has got confidence, he's going, fuck it, I'm gonna go and give it the best shot. Doesn't make it, he's young. Go for Paris next year.
If we're gonna get into this abstract debate, which I'm all about, I think Cooper races with a lot of ego,
Which
You know what I mean?
serves him well.
which I think
Yeah.
I think he really, when he races, I feel like he really has to like, he's really racing for his ego. So I think he has that going for him in a weird way. Like he feels, I think he takes it really personally, like when he doesn't race as well as he wants to. And I know he sets his goals super high. Cole is seemingly the most relaxed. Well, I mean, Hobbs is pretty. Seems like they all seem like. I mean, yeah, it's extremely. Chill.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Yared's probably the
chill.
most relaxed. Yared will probably get to the line and just go, wait, who are all these people again?
But Cole,
Oh wait, I know Cole. That's
Cole's
right.
been on a bit of a redemption tour type vibe as well, though. I would say because he doesn't get hate. Like he does not get hate. I think he's extremely well loved. Like universally, everyone's like, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
But I think he does have a bit of a chip on his shoulder. The only time I've seen him actually ever respond to hate was last year when he.
Oh yeah.
From you, from you, Ollie. It's from you.
I hope
You
they
got
know
under
it's
his
a
skin. You've been under his skin.
I hope they know it's a term of endearment. When I make names.
When you
for
said
them.
that, when you said they were bad at running, we didn't say they were bad at running. You said the men's 1500 was
Oh,
US men's 1500 was weak.
I said the men's 1500 meters was weak compared to other countries, which I think was fair
At the
that
time,
point.
yeah.
Time.
I think that's a fair comment. Now, I 100% believe the US team is extremely talented, and you could see 3 guys in the final and medley.
I would love to see that rivalry reignited at the end of this year.
What, between Cole and Cooper and me?
Yeah, a little bit.
The love triangle.
Oh yeah, because now it's all come back to me because you were gonna then race them out.
It was right before
Pre.
Yeah. No, it was before pre, and then I came second. I beat both of them, and then afterwards I asked Cooper if I could get him on the podcast, and he just didn't give me an answer. He's like, I don't know.
Sounds
if I
about
can,
right.
I can do it, and I was like, mate, you're missing out on the Coffee Club fan base. Like, you're going to be a Coffee Club TC athlete, you know.
Those guys, they're good. They don't need us.
They have bigger fish to fry. I think that Phil Knight probably has a podcast somewhere where they're doing the podcast with him. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I stand by that statement from last year. This year, though, I think the 1500 meters. This is why I'm so excited to talk about it. I think they're so fucking good.
Wait, so
potential wise.
What's your guys' picks? I had to say mine.
I think Yared, I think could run away with it.
But who's your pick to not make it?
Not make it. Honestly, I think it's going to be between Cole and Cooper.
You got to say
You got to
one.
pick one.
I'm gonna have to say Cooper. This is why. I'm a guy that loves running off self-hatred, but also like just like a lot of feeling, emotion. And I think the people that are gonna perform USA's is emotion. Like it's just so much. It's almost bigger than world champs and Olympics most of the time. The trials, and all that emotion. I think it either lifts you up or brings you down. I think Hobbs is going to have a lot of emotion and a lot of good emotion going in because the way he's running and the way he's attacking races, and he's obviously extremely fit, extremely confident. I think I'm going to pick him for being in the top 3. And the reason why I'm going to pick Cole as well is for the same reason. I think Cole's had a lot of setbacks, but he's coming back from it, and he's also such a talented racer. And I could also see him being a sleeper in the race. Like, I don't see Cole controlling the race at all at any point. I see him just waiting for the right time, and he's going to unleash that kick and get in the top 3. With Cooper, any other day of the week, you put Cooper at 2 in a race, it's like, yeah, he's probably going to get top 3 in a race. But I think for me personally, with the US, I think Cooper's going to be probably making the 5K team or winning 5K. I think Cooper's an amazing 5K runner, and I think he'll like crush the 5K. 1500 though, I have to pick one of them, and I'm picking Cole over Cooper. But I think Cooper, like, it could be either way, honestly. Like, Cooper could come through and do the same thing. But I feel like the emotions with it, Cole and Hobbs, my feeling of it, I picked them. So that's my reasoning. But it could, I'm definitely.
It's not easy. It's not an easy choice.
Yeah, it's not an easy choice.
I'll take the emotions out of it. I'll go with Cole just to be the third wheel, and say that it's going to be just fast enough that 2 races in 2 days is too much without a big enough
taking
base.
the emotion out of this. It's a smart way to go. I mean, yeah, on paper,
but I'm not going to be surprised. Like you said,
him.
I'm not going to be surprised if whoever makes it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. What do you reckon would be the biggest surprise of somebody getting the top 3? Who's your biggest like sleeper pick?
The big one would be Centro for sure.
Centro, yeah.
Or not, yeah. Not out of them 4, but yeah, Centro coming through and getting top 3, that'd be the craziest thing.
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him either. I could see him fucking doing it, but
yeah, everyone would be so happy if that happened.
No, I mean, when Centro ran like 337, 336, everyone was just on Discord going, "He's back! He's gonna make the team."
Everyone's very excited.
And that's only the big 4. There are a lot of people queuing up right behind them.
Hope Mania, baby. Let's go.
Hold the ball.
Get holded.
Did you see his post-race interview after the New York Grand Prix?
I didn't.
It's not intimidated by anyone.
He could, yeah, he's not. He could make you run through a brick wall. He was just like, he's like, all these Americans are running fast times. It's so inspiring. I believe I'm as best as all of them. I'm going to go and show it at USA. Like, you could rally behind that man. You did a post-race workout as well at the track. I don't know what it was. I just saw some photos from it.
Pringle going to be in it.
Oh, Pringle! I forgot about Pringles.
His like positioning with like 250 to go is.
He's always in the lead with like in the perfect position.
He's technically very good runner.
Very
yeah,
good.
where's he? I haven't seen race results from him since. Actually, no, he did that one in Portland.
He even racing pretty well too. Like
he did that in LA with Cooper and Hobbs.
So maybe he's just been keeping it more.
I think another 335.
Keeping it in the US until USA's or something. But yeah,
he's waiting for that big kick.
Yeah, doing his thing. So
Johnny Gregoric.
Johnny G. Yeah. So
there's so many.
Are there gonna be any college kids in it? I wonder. They're pretty good.
I'm sure those UW guys are.
Yeah, I mean they're not running the same times that the pros are running, but they're very good races. So that'd be a cool little addition to throw in there as well. So yeah, we could have waited to next week to do this, but
we will do it again next week.
You're gonna do the exact same thing again.
We'll go through it again next week.
Why don't we I'll just cut this segment. I'll paste it again in the next week's episode, so we don't have to go through the trouble. But yeah, we were excited to talk about that because it's just been on our minds a little bit. But we do have a bunch of Q&A to go into. Before that, I did want to give a little personal update, the Morgan training update, because I haven't really updated anyone how it's been going for like a month now. And plain and simple, things have been going very well. I've had, if you check out my Strava, you'll see that I'm putting in some solid miles with some solid workouts. And I can report that the body's feeling pretty good. I was a little bit banged up 2 weeks ago, I think, and then I went and saw Jason in Michigan, and he really fixed me up. Do maybe have a YouTube video coming out about that, which
like and subscribe.
Fun. Yeah, like and subscribe. Been editing away, so I'm very excited to put that out. But yeah, everything's going really well, and I don't know if I've said this yet. Maybe I mentioned this, but potentially racing next month. That's the plan right now. So I'm excited to get back into racing. I mean, honestly, sooner than I thought I would, but yeah, I just wasn't even thinking about racing for quite a while, so I didn't really have any plan for it. And I just want to be back racing. I'm pretty scared because I think it's gonna like hurt a lot. You know, I think I like see all you guys race and race so well, and then you kind of like, you know, take it for granted, but you're like, well, these guys are running like these times, so I'm gonna go do it. And then I just remember every first race that I have after like an injury or whatever, you're like, wow, like you forget how hard you push yourself in a race, and you do get used to that feeling after a couple. Like it does get not as hard, scary, but yeah, I'm a little bit frightened of that, if I'm being honest. So, but yeah, I'm really happy that things have been going well. So no complaints right now. But moving on to our Q&A, the first one, How do we sell the OAC to Ryan Reynolds? Ryan Reynolds.
We got to get some Canadians on the team.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
Is he?
Yeah.
And we should also
He's from Vancouver.
mention the guy that he does all his ventures with from Always Sunny. Whose name I cannot remember.
Oh,
So this is in
he's
the
one
wake
like-
of him.
He changes body shape like really rapidly.
This is him in the wake of
Rob
when did they buy Wrexham FC?
McElhenney.
So they've owned a football team in Wales for like a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been like 3 years.
And
I
then
think.
they got promoted, right?
Yeah. They've done well.
And
Like it's
then
been a big.
He bought into something else. What was it?
That's what, and just in the last couple of days, it's been announced that he bought a
27%
share or something.
Yeah, they
of
bought
Alpine.
a big stake in Alpine
F1
F1,
team.
which
Why
is crazy
Alpine? Why Alpine?
because that's such big money, like in F1. I mean,
Yeah.
owning a
I wonder
football
what-
team is big money as well, but F1.
Why
There's only, I mean,
I guess it's just.
Wrexham's one of hundreds of football teams. There's only 10 Formula One teams.
I guess for them, it's. I don't know how much money they have. Like if they're just like playing around, but I suppose it is an investment, and they really believe. I don't know how they have enough time to do this between the like all their other shit that they do, but they probably just really believe that it's an investment, and they can bring by them buying it, they can bring a whole new dynamic to it, and
Probably more sponsors too.
yeah, like they can bring it, and like even just the fact that they bought it brings a lot of value because it's like. I don't, actually, now that I think about it, Ryan Reynolds must have so much money just with Mint Mobile and
As I
stuff.
said, he sold Mint Mobile for
Yeah.
a shit ton of money.
It got sold to T-Mobile,
T-Mobile,
or
I
something.
think, yeah.
So, but they
What
have
do you
such
think?
a good brand.
Yeah. What's OAC worth? What can we?
OAC.
We give them a little stake in it.
I would say OAC. Is
Imagine the
worth-
exposure.
I
Well,
mean,
I don't know if
okay,
he's into
like
running.
let's be honest with OAC. Like I'm gonna get real tough here, boys. OAC wise, you need good social, good marketing on that social, and you also need merchandise, right? So hopefully we get the merchandise out, we get the good social channel in. Then Ryan comes in, buys it.
But what would you value OAC at? Like if you were on, and
I value it at $1 million.
I'd say it's more than $1 million.
No, it's not. Not with it. There's no social media channel.
Just the
and there's no
contracts.
merchandise.
Well, I guess that you have to pay the contract.
Yes, yeah. That
Just
on,
the athletes themselves.
on paying it.
Just the athletes themselves, I would say, are worth more. Think about that. Like what? Think about what you actually get when you buy OAC. You get the brand of OAC as a team, but then you get Dathan Ritzenheim.
Yeah.
Does that mean does that mean you're buying out on?
Yeah, On's not. No, because On.
Or you get a stake in it?
In this hypothetical, on are
Because,
able
like-
to make OAC like a separate entity,
Because they're not. It's not like.
and they own.
But then they
OAC.
lose
it's still
control to-
Alpine F1 team. It's not like
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
branded F1.
That's
It
the
could
thing.
be.
But, like, wouldn't On lose a bit of control of OAC?
Well, they would because they're selling it to you.
Well,
Ryan Reynolds.
If we had, I hate to butcher it, but if we had, say we have merch and a social media channel, I reckon we're worth like $2 to $3 million. But I think because we don't have those factors, Ryan won't buy into it unless we do. Do you know what I mean? So wink wink to On if you want to sell
But-
for big money.
He probably sees that as his specialty. You know what I mean?
Getting on the social and the
Yeah.
merch.
So
he could get it cheap.
yeah. So
So even then we're worth even more.
yeah, I would
'Cause we're giving him
put
price.
OAC between 5 and 10 million.
5 and 10 million.
Yeah, because if you think about investing
I
in
guess.
something, you're thinking long term.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, you and George's hair is insured for what, $2 or $3 million each?
Yeah.
If anything
At
happens to
least,
it with the
at
coffee
Coffee Club
least.
contract. So, yeah.
So why are
that
we
makes-
thinking OAC Coffee Club? Let's give him.
Well, I think
Oh, yeah, let's give him Coffee Club. Why are we talking about OAC?
let's not give
well,
him
Coffee Club is probably too expensive for him. He probably
What would you value Coffee Club at?
Probably 100 mil.
100 mil, yeah.
100 millies.
Oh,
So it's a lot more valuable than On if you say On. I mean,
OAC.
OAC is worth what?
5 to 10 million.
10 million.
10x.
What do you
That's a
think?
joke, by the
Do you
way.
reckon we're
It's
the
a joke.
Yeah, we're just joking. But what do you think? Do you think On is the most valuable professional running team?
You mean OAC?
Oh,
Okay.
wait, sorry. OAC is it the most valuable running team?
No, definitely not.
In
It's
the world?
definitely
Still Bauman?
well. It'd probably be NN running.
Oh, NN
It'd be
running.
like NN or Bauman.
Would we be in the top 3?
Yeah, we'll put ourselves at
And-
number
and-
3
and
right
if-
now.
I think right now would be worth more
Then Bauman?
because like
They still have medals though. They have Olympic medals and stuff.
yeah, but they're not trending.
But
But they have
No.
Haywood.
But you just got to think about it. If you're thinking about buying a team, like you got to think about you have to take into consideration like what's already there, but also like the future. And so like with Bauman, if you buy Bauman, you're already buying 100K plus Instagram followers. Like that's part of it already. And like
we have 1 million.
we don't. we don't have 1 million.
The on has 1 million.
Nike,
but how much of a factor of that do we get as OAC?
What do you mean?
Like OAC for the growth
None.
of on, don't we get a bit of a factor with that social media?
Well, we're a part of the growth, but it's not attached to OAC in the way that Bauman literally have their own channel. So it's literally exactly,
True.
you can see what it is. So you're buying that, you're buying like the brand for them is like, yeah, it has a couple of wounds along the way, whatever you want to call it. Shout out to, no, I'm not going to mention it.
Dips in the share price.
But, you know, that could become a really good Netflix documentary at some point.
Probably it already has been made.
By the way, can I just say, apparently Shelby is racing like this weekend like a BMR or something.
She ran a race.
What
Girls were saying that this
if she's
morning.
racing Kev? No, I'm just kidding.
Her and Kev go at it.
Dude, they might be.
She's from the Midwest.
They're both from the Midwest.
Wait. Is she allowed to race?
I don't think it's a sanctioned event.
In a non-sanctioned thing.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
the answer to this though is like,
I think the answer is we need to go to the next question.
yeah, I think so too. I mean,
It's a nice hypothetical.
yeah, it is.
And then
OAC though.
he just bought the team. He just turned up at the gym.
Yeah, OAC
That'd be so sick.
pretty valuable, I still think, but
Well, dude, I put it at 5 to 10 million.
5-10 million.
I'm kind of just making that up.
But would Ryan Reynolds buy OAC Oceania and OAC Europe as well? Because they're part of the OAC in general. So wouldn't that add more value?
You're making this this question really complicated.
Well, I'm trying to answer the question.
I mean,
And do you buy Ritz? Do you buy the rights to Ritz? Like, I can't do the voice anymore. Like, Ryan Reynolds says, no more voice. And I have to give it up.
yeah, you're not allowed to impersonate Ritz.
Yeah, Ryan
He's-
makes me sign a contract.
He's bought every facet of Ritz that
Yeah.
exists in the world. So,
All right, enough.
all right, fine. Next question. Let's do a serious one after that. Would you guys rather transform yourself into a kiwi or a koala?
Koala, obviously.
Yeah, koala for me as well. Well, wait, are kiwis alive still?
Yeah, bro.
They're not extinct?
Dude, there's nothing in New Zealand to kill them.
No, there is. That's the
What, people?
no, like little stoats and ferrets and stuff.
Kiwis are like,
'Cause they can't fly.
They can't defend themselves at all.
The big ones can.
With their
'Cause-
beak.
Did they perform the
I think
haka or
they
something?
Okay, so the only reason I would maybe say kiwi, like I wouldn't actually say kiwi because I think that would be sacrilegious as an Australian, but the biggest thing for me, like which makes me really like kiwi birds, is when I went to New Zealand when I was younger, I got like a kiwi bobblehead and it was so cool. It was like
pretty
you
cool.
like had the thing, you just went doop doop, and its head and it had a nice beak and it would go.
Kiwis are really cute, but they can't climb trees like koalas can. And apparently, all they say is koalas can swim.
Very
I don't know.
impressive.
I haven't seen that,
Yeah.
but
They can do your taxes as well.
It's convenient.
Yeah, that's why I need a koala in my life. But like,
Can you eat a kiwi?
does a kiwi perform the haka or something to scare away the ferrets?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Is that where you get the haka
That's
from?
exactly what it does.
It's a little kiwi going, come with it.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get cancelled by New Zealand for that one.
Nah,
You're in
that'd be
trouble.
fine, right? Yeah. And I'm being, yeah,
That's fine.
it's fine. It's a kiwi bird.
It's the
I
kiwi
mean,
bird.
what does a kiwi bird do? Is it gonna go fly to Boulder, Colorado, and beat me up?
So why can't you eat a kiwi bird?
Well,
Was it like a
I
chicken?
assume you go to prison.
Wait, what about eggs? You make a little omelet.
Also, prison.
People don't eat kiwi bird eggs.
Prison.
Why? They're probably so tasty and nutritious.
They probably got a really nice yolk as well, you know.
They're probably different colors, like the eggs. Do they even lay eggs? Yeah, they must lay eggs.
I think so.
Imagine just taking like an egg away from the kiwi bird and it's just going, please don't take the eggs.
Dude, like I've never seen a kiwi bird. Have you seen?
I've never seen one.
You haven't even seen one?
No, outside of a like little sanctuary.
Apparently they're super hard to find.
They're nocturnal,
Oh.
so they're only out at night, and then they're in like super remote
I
areas.
suppose koalas are very hard to see as well. I haven't seen too many koalas in the wild in my life either. I mean, they are out there, but they have sanctuaries as well. Like they're
I've seen a few
endangered species.
I've seen a few koalas
Yeah.
out and
So,
about, fortunately.
good question. The next question is actually a serious question. It comes from Riley, who is he's a member of the team in a way. He's doing our photo shoot for our merch. So shout out to Riley. If you could say something to the teenage version of yourself, what would it be? for context, because I think Riley's probably asking this question for himself, he's going into his senior year of high school.
I was about to say, it'll be 13 or 19.
17 years old. And it is kind of a hard question, but the answer that I always give to this one is like literally the most cliched one, which is kind of just like trust yourself and have fun, which is such a okay. My other maybe more real answer, sorry, I'm taking like 3 answers, is to try find a good mentor. That's probably the other ones are like obvious, like you would tell anyone to do that. Find a good mentor, someone who understands what you're going through, who's done that kind of before, and so you can just ask them all the questions, like, so you don't have to go and make all the mistakes yourself. I mean, believe me, I'm the type of guy who likes to learn from experience. You can tell me not to do something and I'll still do it until I actually I commit the mistake myself and I get the subsequent punishment. That's how I learn.
Morgan, don't jump off a bridge. I'm doing it anyway.
No, like literally. So I think if you could avoid that by having a good mentor, which I did have a lot of great mentors in my life and I'm very thankful to them, I think that's something as a 17-year-old, anyone, or at any age, having a mentor is very important, I would say.
I would say probably take myself less seriously. I feel like with running, but also not in general too. I think just like everything seems like so important when you're like that age. Like everything seems like everything matters a lot. And I feel like looking back and like looking at even high school running now, like man, I don't care, and it really doesn't matter. And I think there's like a lot of things like that when you're that age that seem like are like the biggest things in the world, but are really not.
It's great advice for anyone. Isn't it weird how the older you get, like the more important things get, but also like the less important they get at the same time? You just realize nothing matters.
I think it's the thing where it's like you when you're some age, like you stop caring what people think, and then you get older and you realize that no one cared what anyone thought in the first place.
Yeah, like it never mattered.
Yeah,
that's good advice.
My one would be expose yourself and spend time with people that you wouldn't.
Expose yourself, like in public?
I would say just the waist down.
Just leak
just the waist
17 down. Well, you probably shouldn't expose yourself if you're under 18, I guess.
But the reason why I say that is I think it was interesting reflecting on my life, and like it is kind of crazy when I think of the 3 of us. Like we all came from, suburb areas or small towns in New Zealand and Australia, and then we're all the way through this journey here right now in the US, like in a very niche, I would call it a niche environment.
Aren't there like 5 million people in Sydney?
Yeah, wait, I was gonna say.
Well, I mean, like you come from I'm not from like.
We came from one place and we all ended up. We came from
Caringbah South.
We came from different suburbs.
Yeah,
I want to
end up in this suburb.
I had different exposure to friends, family, and the one thing that I do look back on very fondly was that I spent time with and experienced a lot of great things with people that I necessarily didn't think I would spend time with. People that had different interests, people that had different pathways, but they were also like in some ways affecting my life. Whether it was school, whether it was like some sort of other extracurricular activity, surfing, lifeguarding, working with disabilities, swimming was a big one too. Like a lot of those people I look back on and they've taught me a lot of lessons about myself, not just in sport but in life, and I always look back on it and think of it fondly. And I think I would be very less probably content with who I am if I didn't have those exposures from those people, because they kind of made me much more of an onion. So
got a lot of layers.
Got a lot of layers, and I think that's the one thing that I would say if I look back to my teenage self is like make sure you expose yourself. Make sure you expose yourself to people that you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. I think for me, like college was the big time for that, where I left my bubble, and
your Randwick bubble,
my eastern suburbs of Sydney bubble, and I met a lot of new people. I mean, that's true for all of us coming from Australia to America, but yeah, it was crazy what impact that had on becoming my own person, I guess I would say, independence and all that. So yeah, The final question that we have today is, who do we think is winning a decathlon from the OAC? We'll do the men's and the women's.
So
This is a tough one.
I'll go first because I've been pondering this one a lot. I think, honestly, it'd be between Sage and Cinta. I think they're both extremely athletic in other forms of sport. I think the other girls might struggle a little bit. But I think Sage and Cinta would be really, really good. For the men's side...
You gotta pick one.
Oh, I'll pick... Honestly,
Are you gonna narrow it down
I've seen
first?
Sage do more crazy shit than Cinta, so I'm going to pick Sage. But Cinta's also extremely athletic, so it's a roll of the dice. But from experience of seeing Sage do crazy shit in the gym, I think she would do very well in the heptathlon. Sorry. For the men's...
While you're on that, I'm just going to say I'm going to pick Cinta, not just because I have to, but because she used to be a 400.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
she's got a hurdle background. I thought about that.
But so does Sage.
Does she?
I didn't
She
know
ran
that.
the
She
steeple.
did steeple.
She ran the steeple. So that's why...
It's definitely between those two.
Morgan, that's why I put
I just wanted to say that.
That's why I put Cinta there.
While you're
I
on
know
the
she's
thought.
athletic and like her story and her background is like incredible, which is why it's between Sage and Cinta. But I've seen Sage do crazier shit in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Cinta do crazy shit in the gym too, but I've had more exposure to Sage, where I'm going to pick hers
Also
more
the
by lock.
exposure.
The number of times you've
Influence.
slipped exposure into this podcast
It's my word of the day.
is really impressive.
It's my word of the day.
You're
alright,
crushing
guys?
it.
Like exposure on social media and exposure on Let's Run. Anyway, for the men, I think Morgan, rep soccer player. When you're not injured, you're actually really, really talented in a multitude of sports.
Appreciate
George
that.
as well. George is extremely competitive at anything that's mini golf, ping pong, in general. Mario is also extremely competitive and athletic. The men's side is a bit more of a throw of the dice. I think Yared might struggle a little bit with some stuff. Like
Yared is losing.
Like I think if it comes to like hurdling or pole vaulting, I think Yared would struggle. I don't think I would do very well. I'm not gonna blow my own horn too much, but I think I'm very athletic, but not in the decathlon. Like in other sports, in swimming,
Like
and
video games.
Waking up in the morning.
Sudoku.
But not in hurdling or all that.
I think the men's side would all be pretty similar. Like, I think we'd all have really similar profiles.
I think George would probably...
How good is your high jumping, George?
Not great, but like
It is not.
I feel like I'm reasonably bouncy, but I don't know if I can do a Fosbury flop.
Just
I feel like
'cause-
I just scissor it.
Just because
Yeah.
you're also the only guy on the team that really hurdles, so
That is true. He does
I'll
it.
put George in the number one spot, but I'd like to put a list for the boys. Number one spot, George.
I think Morgan would take out the shot put.
I think
That's what
Morgan.
I'm wondering. I'm trying to
I think
of
you'd be.
what
You know, what
different
you'd be really good at, honestly.
Tell me.
Pole vault. I think you'd be good at the pole vault. Because you know
Don't
why?
worry
Because you
about
just said before that you love to take new experiences, and someone tells you you're not going to do something, you're going to do it. And I can see with you, like with rock climbing or with anything, you go pole vaulting, you're just going to do it. You don't think about it, and you just
Go for it.
Yeah, and you're athletic enough to do that. Whether you get over the bar is a different question. But I would put Morgan number 2.
Imagine us all trying to compete in the pole vault.
It'd be pretty funny.
What do you even set the bar at? Like
as
1
low,
meter?
as low as possible.
Yeah, I think Mario would be the best out of the blocks.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
100. Is that a
Yared
that's
would
an
be
opinion.
good at all the stuff that we were like.
In the 400.
Yeah.
Imagine imagine if we actually did it, how competitive the 1500 would be at the end.
We'd also all be toast.
Who
Because
would
it'd
be,
be 9
who would
events.
be the least rigged? Yeah.
Honestly,
I mean, that's where probably Joe would shine through.
Joe.
But,
But yeah, I'd put George number 1, Morgan number 2, and then I'd put Joe number 3, Murray number 4, me number 5, Yared number 6. I forgot about
what
Jonas.
about Jonas, man? Come on.
I don't know. Jonas, I've only seen
He's
him run.
sneaky strong, actually.
Yeah. I've only seen him run. I haven't seen him do anything else.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like what event. I guess it's every event. It's so hard. Like,
Javelin, right?
is there a 400? There's just a flat
Flat.
400.
Shot put, Jonas would be probably.
There's a
Flat
is
form.
110 hurdles.
Yeah.
110 hurdles.
Dude, there's a lot of sprinting. That's
There's
a lot of sprinting.
There's a 200 as well, isn't there?
No.
There's 100. There's 100.
100.
There's 100.
Is it
100, 400, 110
Yeah.
hurdles.
Long jump,
Track.
Oh, I
Pole
forgot
vault.
about the jumping.
shot put,
I wouldn't be very good at that.
pole vault. Said pole vault twice. 1500.
You do
Yeah.
2 pole vaults.
I'm picking
Javelin.
Javelin. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I'm gonna go Sage and Mario.
Safe picks. Well, I don't know,
Random
man.
bits.
I think Mario would be good at the sprint team, but I can't.
I think you'd get
I
a lot of
think-
points in the sprint.
I think
I don't think he would do that well on the other events.
he'd lose some points in
Yeah.
throws.
I don't think he'd do that
I
well.
think
what
what
even-
a javelin.
What makes you good at javelin? I guess you have to be big.
Yeah.
But-
No, I mean, if you look at a lot of those javelin throwers, they're fucking shoulders.
Chopra.
I'm pretty big.
He's big.
Honestly, maybe Kleko would be a good javelin thrower.
He does have the body.
He has the shoulders for it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is too hard for me.
If you told him there's a
One
Red
thing.
Bull sponsorship, if he did it, he'd fucking throw like.
If you pay us
50
enough money, we'll do it.
That's where Ryan Reynolds comes in.
Exactly. You can make
Converts
like a
us
cool,
all to Decathlon.
He buys OEC and then he sets up a social media for us and then he says the first thing we're putting on the social media is everyone doing the decathlon.
if we had like a season of like episodes, that'd be a cool episode.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool one to slot in there somewhere. Like you could do that.
Imagine like an Ollie Hall shirt, but it's Ollie just like falling over a hurdle. Or it's like it's a George Beamer shirt, but it's him like pole vaulting.
Imagine Ritz trying to coach us through the decathlon.
No, it's just Rich doing this.
Yeah.
Hand on his
So
face.
stressed. They're all going to injure themselves. That'd be amazing.
Jason would be a good decathlete coach.
Yeah, he'd be laughing at us.
Yeah, because he understands the human movement side of it for every event somehow. So, yeah. Wow, some good questions today. Very good.
Who do you have picked? Center and who?
I'd like to pick myself, but
You can pick yourself.
We'll allow that.
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like I don't know if, dude, I'm just scared I'd get smoked in like the sprints. The funny thing is with like our team is like we know everyone's fast, but we don't actually know who's like winning in a 100. You know what I mean? Because there's still like a big difference between like kicking down in a race and like a 100 sprint. It's still like it's a completely different event still.
If Carlos was still on the team, I'd put Carlos in. I know he would.
Carlos
His ego is pretty high with that because he always goes, "Yeah, I'd gas you guys," and I was like, "All right, Carlos," but he actually would like in 100 probably rinse us.
Can you imagine us all racing at 400? That'd be the worst thing ever.
What do you
That would be pretty
reckon
entertaining.
we could all run?
I did think everyone would break 50 between like 40, 47 and 49.
It'd be so tense. That whole race would be so tense.
Do you think someone on a team is running 47?
Out of blocks? Or
Either. 47 is pretty quick.
that's so
47 is pretty quick.
I-
I don't know if we have
that's
that
20
speed.
that's 23 points.
Yeah, I don't know if we have that speed.
Mate,
Me and Ollie ran 24 a couple of days ago, but that's rolling start makes such a difference.
yeah, rolling start's a bit different, but I'm saying like if you're doing nothing else and you're racing against your teammates at 400 meters, you have your lane. I reckon somebody's running fucking 47 high.
I think we would have to like train for it a bit. I think you would have to race a couple to know like how to race them. That's what I would say, and then we'd get down to 47.
Yeah.
But did you see that the Sandreas? No, that's not his name. What's his name? Nordas. He says he can't break 50 for the 400. This was also when I scrolled on Let's Run today. It was on the front
He can't
page.
break
Do you think Jengi can break 50?
Yes, he already has.
Is he?
In workouts, yeah.
So Nordas was claiming that he's like the slowest person ever to break 330 in the 1500.
That's not true. I've never run under 50 either.
Well,
He's not saying he hasn't, he's saying he can't.
yeah.
No, but you can't say you can't unless you try
No.
to.
He's not saying he can't. He's saying he thinks he's probably the slowest person ever to break. Like he's the
Slowest
slowest
leg
foot speed to break 330.
Gert was saying, Gengi was saying, like he was a half marathoner like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He might be right.
Don't take it personally. He's like, no, I'm slow.
I'm slow. I'm the
slow.
slowest person.
I have to be real with you, but if you're breaking 330, you can probably run under 50
He
seconds.
probably could.
That's to me is like a bit of a silly comment. I mean,
He could still be the slowest
Yeah.
leg speed person ever.
no, it's definitely Yared. Yared's leg speed, even though.
What? He
Yeah,
just ran
it's
49 the other
extremely
day in
No, but that's what I'm
practice.
Yeah,
saying
it's
is like
extremely
if you
quick.
watch his legs actually turn over, they're slower than anybody else.
I think you're taking leg speed a
Yeah,
little too
that's
literally.
that's what leg speed
That's
is.
exactly
Ollie.
what
I
I'm
think you're
doing.
taking it a little too literally.
It's exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking it absolutely literal. If you watch Yared run around the 1500, he's the only one in the field that's running slower than
Because
everyone
his
else.
stride is
The-
like 5 meters.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what running slow means.
Yeah.
No, leg speed. I'm talking about leg speed, not running slow. Leg speed.
Oh, he's
I
breaking
think-
down the. Do
I'm
you know?
I'm
Do you know
breaking
what
down
it means
the-
when someone says leg speed?
Yeah. I'm just.
I think
trying
we're
to-
losing our minds.
I'm trying to unhinge the podcast near the end here.
Doing a great job. Now I'm questioning everything.
Are you
Well-
questioning your leg speed?
Dude, Do I have good leg speed? I don't even
Yeah.
know anymore.
No,
how fast,
okay.
How fast do my legs move?
Pretty,
Not that fast.
pretty
right?
honestly, you
Not
look.
that fast. Not
You
that
and you
fast.
and George are quite similar, I think, with leg speed.
Is it fast or slow?
Like
literally our legs.
like your legs like.
Not how fast we're running.
Are we talking about leg speed or leg speed?
We're talking about leg speed. So
Is it fast or slow?
it's fast, but then your leg speed is slow.
I think that's the thing. I think of myself as having.
I think the faster you run, your leg speed goes down.
Goes down slower. Yeah. The faster you run, the slower your leg speed is.
Because when I try
It makes sense now.
when I try and match stride with you running slow, I feel like I'm like a sewing machine. But then
Going really quick. Yeah.
when you run fast, I feel like our strides match up better.
It's because I'm not as talented as you, George.
It's because you don't have as good leg speed.
This is getting unhinged.
You need to work on your leg speed.
I gotta work on my talent, and then George's gonna work on his leg speed.
Sounds like a plan. Well, with that, I think we've covered just about everything. That's episode 92 of the Coffee Club podcast. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Shout out to George going to Stockholm tomorrow.
Best of luck.
Best of luck for that one. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait to watch it. But yeah, thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next week.